guys, and welcome to another video of Vibing with Via. Today is a very special day because I am going to be joined by my very own big daughter. See her there? Wave to the camera there, let them see you. All right, so my big daughter is gonna be here with me to she's gonna be baking bread. I'm not sure what kind of bread it is, but she's gonna be demonstrating probably how to make a spelt bread, because of course we try to use products and ingredients to create recipes that are based on the blood type diet. Now, she is actually my mother, not my big daughter, but she's my big daughter, right? So she is a type A blood type, and of course I am a type B positive. So she's gonna join me in the kitchen today. From a previous video, you remember me saying that, look, when it comes to the baking, it's not my favorite thing. Not that I can't bake, but baking is one of them things where you have to follow ingredients to the T. You have to really know what you do. You know, baking for me is not for amateurs. And for that reason, it's best that I ask her to do it, because she's a master at both baking and cooking. Give me the cooking any day, all day, every day. But sometimes I can't be bothered with the baking, especially if we're baking with ingredients and so that just different, right? It's a spelt bread. Anyway, I want you to check out my t-shirt. It says click click pow, Isaiah 54 verse 17. You don't know what Isaiah 54 verse 17 say? If you don't, I want you to go right ahead, take up your Bible, go look for that, and then guess what? We're gonna get right into our little baking. So the first step in creating this spelt bread is to go ahead and throw in a 1/4 cup of warm water. Immediately following that, you need to be able to put in your dry, is it dry or just active yeast? What is it? It's active, active, it's dry? Oh, so it's actually dry. So you want to put in some honey before we even get to the yeast. We're using natural honey. Some persons may actually opt for sugar, but we are using 1 tablespoon of honey, adding that to the water. Here we go. You want a little a spoon or something like that, mom, if you scrape it out, because nothing not go waste right here. So I can hold this for you in the meantime if you want. Yeah, so we're draining out everything because we're not waste nothing, and we're just gonna go ahead and scrape everything out, because like I said, we're not wasting anything. Everybody knows that honey is expensive, so nothing nah waste. All right, so we have our honey right there. Next, we're going to sprinkle the yeast over the top of this water and honey mixture, and then we're gonna let it stand for all of what, 10 minutes? Yep. So after 10 minutes, what's really supposed to happen here is that the yeast is supposed to rise or become foamy, and if it doesn't, then you know, say yeast not good. So what gonna happen? You'd have to go back to your next step. So we're gonna wait on this to become foamy, and that's in 10 minutes. As you can see here, it is foaming. Look at all this action. I mean, I wasn't a chemistry student, you know, but I know some chemistry, some science, something not going right here, so things are normal. So it's doing its thing. We're still waiting. It's just in like 1 minute, but some action is happening, so we are sure that this yeast is actually good. We don't have to discard it and go find another pack. After 10 minutes, this is exactly what your yeast should look like. Remember, this is a yeast, water, and honey mixture, so it's foamy at the top, and of course it would have risen. The next step now is that we are going to be adding our milk at 2 cups of 1 cup of milk. We already have some flour in our 1 cup measuring cup, so we just use 2 half cups, right? What the math students them there, or if you did pass maths when you go to school, you know that 2 half cup equal 1 cup of milk. Simple. Next up, we're going to be adding some olive oil, and that is all of how much olive oil now? 3 tablespoons? 3 tablespoons of olive oil. All right. That's one. Another. And the third. 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Now add 2 cups of flour. And we want to add some salt to that as well. I think we only need about 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I can get the salt for you. So the recipe actually calls for all of what?
3.5.
It's 3.5?
3.5, yes.
3.5 cups of spelt flour. So we had 1 cup going already. Throwing out the next 1 cup. So this is gonna be the second of the 3 cups. But you see, an important step here is that you have to eventually fold it in and then get the dough to a particular consistency before it's time to go forward. Yes, I remember. So now we need to have 1 teaspoon of salt. I'll just grab that. 1 teaspoon of salt. Boom. Want a little bit more?
No,
she not gonna say no, you know, so she stay. Surprised that she even allowed the salt to go on. Little salt, man, for good measure. Walk. Alright, so now we're actually going ahead now and we're mixing this around. It's mixing kind of hand action. Again, when it comes to baking and all of these things, you have to be somebody who is definitely interested in taking your time, and you have to have a lot of patience, right? Because them thing are some painstaking process. You see, I mean, I could bother with that. You so she looking for the lump and everything. I can't bother with that. I just be like, listen, this is a batter. Let's just fry this, or let's just not fry, but just do something else with it because I can't bother. That's my thing. I just don't have the patience. So it says you're supposed to stir it with a wooden spoon, and she's doing it until there is somewhat of a loose dough. So now that that is done, she's going to add the remaining flour now in 2 halves. Okay, right? So she's adding the next half, you know, that a half, man. That me can't bother with. Me a Jamaican, you know. You're not Jamaican. You just fling things in there. Where you measure it out for? That's why I don't bake, because I don't like that. I don't want nobody tell me which step and then that step and then that step. No. I just want to jump right in and do whatever I want to do.
Because it is actually kneading it.
Okay.
You're not going to do the one where you knead it on the counter or do it with a rolling pin.
Oh, so it's just a matter of folding it around.
This is a no knead bread.
Oh, no knead bread. What's say? I even know they had those stuff, child. No knead bread.
It is becoming
a little bit thicker. That's what I noticed. Coming like if you want a good arm workout, this is the kind of recipe you want to follow. Maybe I should do some of this so I can, you know, tone up the arms and thing. You don't need no gym. Where gym I go when you can make spelt bread? So if you look at the dough carefully, you're going to recognize that it actually is smooth and it's kind of springy. Look at that. Springy. So the consistency of the dough is perfect for this bread, and once it has happened, we're going to have to leave this now for probably like 1 whole hour for the dough to rise. So you wondered, why did we need that yeast in the first place? That's the purpose, because the dough has to rise. So we're gonna go ahead now and cover that dough with a dish towel or a tea cloth or a plate, and we're gonna leave that there. And once that's done, then it's gonna be time for us to go ahead and set it up in the pan. While the dough is actually doing its thing and it's waiting to rise, grease the baking tin. It's not really a baking, it's a loaf pan. It's a baking tin, but it's a loaf pan because of course I said we were baking a bread. So you can grease it with a little bit of the olive oil again. We're not going to use butter because again we're trying to make this based on the blood type diet, so we wouldn't have gone in with anything like butter unless it was vegan butter. So just using a little bit of the olive oil is good, or there are options. If you can get access to parchment paper, that's one of the things that you could use, or there's another brand, a nice brand I could show you actually. I think we have it here. Yes, I do. I use this one, pretty good. The Diamond cooking and baking paper. This one is excellent. With it, it's non-stick, it's oven safe, and it's easy to clean up. You don't need any added grease or sprays. This one has been a doozy. This one has been really good for us every single time we need to bake something. So if you look, the dough has risen and it's time now to add it to the baking dish. So we're just gonna go right ahead and scoop all of this out. Just use your spatula and oops, we're gonna put everything here into the baking dish, scooping it out. Still has that nice consistency. And guess what, now that it is in our lined baking dish, don't mind the lining, you know, we kind of did just you know, tear off piece of the baking sheet to go around the side, because of course I was the person who did it, and I tell them about the patience and the measurements sometime. But anyway, so we have the going to remain in this position for another 30 minutes. We're gonna cover it again and just let it sit here for another 30 minutes, and of course it's gonna rise a little bit higher, and then naturally after it does that, it's going to be time to bake, right? So it's gonna go into our oven. I tell you about me and my kitchen gadgets. So this is my favorite, my Oster convectional oven. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So we're gonna put it in this oven to bake, and it is supposed to be baked for about 350 degrees, and basically we're just gonna bake it until it's brown, and then when we tap the top perhaps with a knife, it is a little bit hollow. That's when we'll know that it is ready. So we're gonna wait it out now for another 30 minutes before it's time for the oven. The finished product, spelt bread. Here we have it. If I tap it, hollow, just as it is supposed to be. So I'm leaving it here now to cool, and at the end I'm just gonna brush a little bit of olive oil on the top. Now what's amazing about this bread is that if you put it in the fridge, you can have it for a period of 3 weeks. However, you can freeze it and freeze it up to 3 months. So if bread is not something that you eat every day, then certainly you want to make a batch of this, and then you want to freeze it, and then when it's time for you to use it, you could take it out, slice it, put it in your oven to just toast it up, or you know, just warm it up a little bit, or just simply take it out, bring it back to room temperature, and then you're good to go. So there you have it, guys, spelt bread. Thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned to this channel so that you could see many other things that we're going to be cooking up on here. So remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on that post notification bell. Adios.